Floating's, I think, at the top of the list in terms of things that you can do that are legal, that make you feel good. It's not gonna. There's no downside to it. Like you take a psychedelic, there's a downside a lot of times with LSD. You're not gonna feel good for a day or two afterwards. You're gonna be blown out because your brain has been lit up for 12 hours. There's no downside to floating, except for maybe if you're not swimming in the money like Scrooge McDuck. It's not like the most expensive thing. Like, for example, it's all relative. A lot of cryotherapy sessions, they're 3 minutes long, but they're the same price as a lot of times a 60-minute float session, right? Or you go for a meal. You can have one meal. That meal can last you a half hour, an hour. I don't know if you're going to count shitting it out too, but you can have a meal, and that could be a $60 meal. It all depends on where you want to put your money. Here's another example. Your bar tab, $100, $60. You could have floated. Instead of putting spiritual poison in your body, you could be doing the opposite. So it's where your priorities are at. It's always the people who need to float the most are the ones that aren't going to do it. The people who have no time, the people who are in the worst shape. The only people I wouldn't recommend float, at least on my time, is we discourage people who can't get in and out of the tank unless they bring somebody. But aside from that, because sometimes some of these tanks and some of these people, I mean, I put a 500-pounder in the tank, but it was not easy for them to get out. So, but big people will fit. I'm 6'5". I'm about like 175 pounds. So I'm not like a huge person, but lengthwise, you can put people up to 7 feet. And like I said, close to 500 pounds. The problem with a 500-pounder is water displacement. You know what I mean? So they get in and the water level goes up, the water level in the tank's only like 10 to 12 inches. So here's the other thing. You get somebody fat enough in the tank, they're going to rub the bottom. Even if the tank, even if the tank's done correctly, it's just, if you're a ball, versus a straight line, a plank versus a ball, I mean, that's the form of your body. Sometimes it rubs. And so I'm always having to make sure that these tanks are ready to go for every body type. And so if you come float where I am, and I'm not going to give it out because I like people to do the homework. And I also don't like to just give it out because I took my Instagram down for a few days the other day and I had people calling me up saying, "Hey, where'd you go?" Calling my business, which is funny and cool. But
that's what I did though.
Was that you? Was that you that called?
Well, are you referring to one? You said people. Are you referring to one or multiple?
I had lots of people concerned over different channels, but yeah, I had one specifically. Was that you? Did you call the line?
Well, that was me. Yeah, I called Total Zen. Wait.
Oh yeah. But I've had other people call too.
Okay, good. Well, I just called you because I was like, damn, I know he probably gets 1 million messages on Instagram.
That's what it was too. You needed to find out about the show, I think, right?
But I just wanted to make sure I knew where to send you the link to. That would be good for you.
No, it's all good. Yeah.
But I promise, like that, I just saw it like one time in the past or something, and it is just not going to leave my memory. And I'm a industrious person, and I'll be like, well, I bet I will call the float center.
Oh, listen. I like your asking to, what do they call it? Gumption, not gumption, but
chutzpah.
Yeah, to go out there and ask the interview and even to get rejected, that's cool. Because now, you can talk to David Icke, and we talked now, and I try to say yes to as many people as I can, because it's the same thing. Yeah, pay it forward, and you want people to say yes to you, so you got to say yes to them.
And sadly, we're not really it's not like we're personalities per se, but we haven't been asked to do any podcasts, but I would love to do other podcasts. And we were going to do one, but for some reason it just fell through. And I was like, man, you're in Houston. Can we just do it in person? Like, we really don't actually love the Zoom podcast per se, just because this is going well because I think our Wi-Fi is very good. But if you don't have great Wi-Fi, man, it makes it hard on the discussion.
Yeah. Well, I think if I had one tip in terms of getting people to want to interview you, I need to know, you need to know a more specific format. I don't know what just offhand, you know what I mean? Not doing a deep dive on what you do. I don't know what the format or the theme of the show is, like what kind of guests you normally have. Mine is kind of that way too, but mine is there's a broad, if you know the Instagram, it's psychedelics, it's meme talk and whatever I'm doing on the page, but and maybe this is advice to me too, but I'm not trying to, I don't want to even do anything with this anymore. Sometimes I just want to just walk away and say, you know what, like I want to interview Hamilton Moore, but there's a million Hamilton Moore's interviews. I don't need to do. Why do I need to do that?
Yeah.
There's I could talk about, but then I think, okay, you know what though? There are not anybody living at a float center like me
Yeah.
doing psychedelics, helping people do that, and being honest about it, giving a unique experience. So um,
Also, like you made a good point there. It's actually not we're from my perspective, I'll speak for me. I'm not really doing it for other people necessarily. That's part of it, especially interviewing
that's why I
like
keep doing it. I keep doing it for me because I don't
yeah.
have advertising. I don't
Yeah.
have. I'm not trying to like get a sponsor or anything. If anything, I'm trying to get people to give me free floats so I can give it to my guests. But